Japan, and Indonesia. Once again, let me introduce myself. My name is Natasha Salma, and I will be your master of ceremony for today's special event. To present to you our special session tonight, which is titled Welcome Reception, Young Scientist Career Session, How to Build Academic, Scientific, and Industrial Career for Young Scientists in Indonesia. Now, without further ado, let's just move on, hurry up to the session. This session will be moderated by our chairperson, Dr. Agian J. Villano Barinda. Beforehand, let me introduce to you our moderator for tonight by reading his CV. Dr. Agian J. Villano Barinda is a part of the Metabolic, Vascular, and Aging Cluster, Indonesian Medical Education and Research Institute. His formal education consists of medical doctor that he conducted in University of Diponegoro and PhD in Kobe University. His activities consist of being the principal investigator of Molecular Aging Division in Metabolic Disorder, Cardiovascular, and Aging Cluster in IMERI, lecturer in Department of Pharmacology and Therapeutics, Faculty of Medicine, University of Indonesia, postdoctoral Metabolic Vascular and Aging Cluster, Indonesian Medical Education and Research Institute, and postdoctoral in Clinical Pharmacy Lab, Kobe Pharmaceutical University in Japan. Without further ado, let me give the floor to Dr. Agian J. Villano. The floor is yours, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Natasha. So good evening in Indonesian time, maybe good afternoon in European time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So we can get more relaxed here. So because this is our welcome reception, the young scientist session. So thank you very much for the wonderful speakers. We have Dr. Catherine R. Good morning in USA time, and so we have Dr. Nur Alfian here. Good evening. We have Dr. Bramasta and also Dr. Ines. And more importantly, we also have some panelists here. So we have Dr. Yudil Opini from Japan, and also Dr. Tommy Darmawan. He is the head of research Convergence, and also Dr. Michael Dito Manurung. Nice to meet you. And also, last but not least, Dr. Marta Rosana. So this is the interactive discussion. So the interactive session. So for each speakers can present roughly about 5 minutes about their experience building a lab or working in some industrial. And then we will invite the panelists here to have some comment, or most importantly, also the participant may give some something or give some comment about it. Okay, without any further, so I would like to invite the first speaker here, Dr. Catherine. Hello, thank you very much for attending this session, Dr. Catherine. So you may present your presentation here. Thank you. So the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. And thank you so much for the invitation to share a little bit about, my experience in starting a research lab. So, I don't want to take a lot of time, right? This is meant to be really interactive. So I'm just going to give a couple of highlights about things that I think about as I've gone down my academic path. I always tell people I need to make the disclaimer, right, that I am an N of one. I am an individual, and your experiences and your background are likely to be different than me. So I think that's something important to remember. My experience is only in academia. I've never had any experience in industry at any point during my career. So again, these are really, I think a lot of these are transferable between different career paths, but important to note. And then I'm in the US, and I've been in the US since starting my higher education in college and beyond. And so a lot of my experiences is from that lens. And that's probably important, since most people on this call are probably don't have that experience and may not want that experience. So my career path, is probably unimportant for this talk, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. It looks linear, right? But I will say that no career path is ever linear. And if I really could spend, a couple of hours telling you about how I got from when I was a kid and I decided I wanted to be a scientist till now, I think you would be able to appreciate that. And so I think something important to remember, don't worry if your career doesn't look linear or hasn't been linear. No one's is. We just present it like this because it's nice and pretty. Okay, so if I think about some of the key important pieces of advice that I would give myself if I'm looking back, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, these are them. And, I don't want to take a lot of time here, but just maybe I'll tell you like the two here that I actually think have been the most important for my own career. And this is definitely the first one, to listen to yourself. You'll get a lot of advice, including today from myself and from the other people speaking here, but no one knows you better than you. And if you get a piece of advice that sounds, like that doesn't make sense to me, that doesn't make sense to how I want to go forward in my career, I would say don't disregard it, but really think critically about that and say, does that align with my values? Does that make sense to me and what I think? And at the end of the day, if it doesn't, you go with you. Really stick to yourself, stick to your own instincts. I have to admit that there have been many times that I haven't listened to mentors or people giving advice. And I think that's okay. It's turned out fine. So I think if I could give any one piece of advice, is that one. But the other one here that I want is really the second one too, is that I have found in general, life continues to get harder, not easier. So really enjoy where you are now. I think it's so easy to look forward and wish, I'm a postdoc, I want to be a PI, I'm a grad student, I can't wait to graduate. It's very easy to look forward and wish you were somewhere else, something else. But if you slow down a little bit, reflect and enjoy where you are, I wish I had done this. And I think that your career will be, more, you'll have more wealth of experience if you do that. So I don't want, like I said, I don't want to take up too much more time because I want this to be interactive. So I will wrap up with that and say, welcome everyone, and happy to take any questions about that once the other speakers are finished.
Okay, very nice presentation. So apologize that I forgot to share your CV. So sorry before. So this is anyway Dr. Catherine's CV. And next, so we would like to invite the prominent scientist from Indonesia, and also he also built some laboratory, the anatomy laboratory from the Universitas Gadjah Mada. So I would like to read his CV. So Dr. Nur Arfian from Department of Anatomy, Faculty of Medicine, Universitas Gadjah Mada. So he had graduated from Universitas Gadjah Mada and also got the PhD from the Kobe University, Japan. So currently he is the research coordinator at the Department of Anatomy, Faculty of Medicine, and also the lecturer at the similar institution, and also the awardee of the Takeda Science Foundation. Okay, without any further, welcome Dr. Nur Arfian. So we would like to ask to hear your excellent experience.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, guys. So I would like to share with you this very wonderful occasion, how to build academic, scientific, and industrial career in Indonesia. So I am from academic, and we did research. So my history is from junior high school, during I'm being a Boy Scout with Dasa Dharma, maybe in Indonesia is 10 duties or obligation. So, and then I become a lecturer Actually, the purpose to be a lecturer is to reduce the dharma. So become three dharma, just only three, which is academic, research, and also community service. But you know that in Indonesia, we also face the administrative jobs. Maybe this is the challenging for the career itself. Yeah, learning from the scientific and department development. So actually, my department anatomy is old medical science. Part of the medical science is very old. So usually it's very strict and hard. So many terminologies, traditional, no more research anymore. Someone say like that, and less publication. And yeah, so many terminology if you learn anatomy. But we are facing the new thing. This is inevitable. The millennials and then know the Z generation, technology itself, new research horizon, and omic era, rules and regulation, and also media. That's why something that we have to do is to open our borders and also to expand the borders. Maybe something that we need to do is to being a Dora. You know, Dora is the explorer, and she always need maps. So we try to mapping the problems in our department and try to solve it. Although just try and try to find some our universe. Yeah, we have value and share your value and try to improve the value from ours and also for the institution. And yeah, we make some simple and homey laboratorium just for biomolecular research. So I developed some disease-related animal model with using surgery method. And for the teaching industry, we apply some 3D printing and also augmented or virtual reality for medical learning devices and to make the mannequin. And then we try to make it to become a platform and the program. Challenge in Indonesia actually, yeah, finding not the Nemo but the funding. So try to finding the funding for our research and grab it with our maximal power, and also with Gojek, or I'm sorry, Gojek is a joke, yeah. And also, although we have to face the reviewers, and what to do now is always learning and practicing and doing the collaboration, do it persistent, because this is our ninja way. And if we are done or maybe in set condition, always we believe that there will someone that say I love you 3,000 times. So visit at Arvian channel and also some our learning management system. And thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Jeffy.
Okay, thank you very much. Very attractive and eye-catching presentation. Okay, so next we would like to invite Dr. Bramasta. So I would like to share the CV. So yeah, Dr. Bramasta, he is currently working in the Department of Stem Cell Biology, Cell Therapy R&D for Northeast Copenhagen. So he had several professional activity from Zurich and then moved to the AstraZeneca, and currently he is working in the Novo Nordisk Copenhagen. So now we will hear about his excellent experience about how to work in industrial working areas. So thank you very much. The floor is yours, Dr. Bramasta.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Start my slides. Just hold on. Can you see the slides?
Yes, please.
So first of all, thank you very much for the invitation, Dr. Again.
Sorry, I think you mute the Zoom. So please kindly unmute the Zoom. So I'm afraid that we cannot hear you, Dr. Bramasta. Is it clear or only muted? I cannot hear Dr. Pramasta here. Yeah, so we cannot hear you, Dr. Pramasta, sorry.
Try again.
Yes, we can
Can you
hear. Yes, yes. Not yet.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure what's wrong with the audio. Can you see the slides now?
Yes.
First of all, thank you very much, Dr. Again. I really enjoy actually, especially today morning, the session number 2. So for now, it's gonna be a little bit more actually casual. So I will actually talk about my perspective between academia and pharmaceutical industry research. Also, thank you very much for the opportunity to present myself quickly for a few minutes. And maybe also I have a disclaimer that my context of my presentation is probably more applicable to Asia and Europe because I have only lived in Indonesia, in Singapore, and then European countries. And maybe also actually it's towards more pharmaceutical industry because I have spent more time in the pharmaceutical industry as scientist. So at the moment I am based in Novo Nordisk, one of the sites in Copenhagen, in Molu, in the west part of Copenhagen. And basically this is just my biographical, demographical maps. I'm Indonesian. I actually graduated from SMA 8 Jakarta, but I left Indonesia about exactly 20 years ago. I moved to Singapore to do my undergrad and PhD. So I was actually finding a lot of opportunity during my PhD in the National University of Singapore to work already with the industrial scientists, especially from pharmaceutical industry, like Johnson and Johnson's and also Novartis and Roche. That actually the beginning of my strong interest why I would like to do a scientific career in the pharmaceutical industry instead of being academicians. I was lucky that I got the postdoctoral scholarship at Roche in the headquarters in Basel in Switzerland about 11 years ago. Until now, I have lived in Europe for about 11 years. At Roche, basically, I started my independent career outside Asia for the first time to develop a technology for understanding kidney fibrosis in the cardiac, renal, cardiac, and metabolism department. And 4 years of my stay at Roche, I still wanted to live in Europe because there was some reorganization in Roche by around 2015. I moved to the clinic actually to work more with the clinicians to develop iPS-derived cardiomyocyte. And I moved from Switzerland to Sweden to start my small responsibility as a high content imaging in the cardiovascular, renal, and metabolism, which actually enhanced my experience not only in the cell culture part, but also the technology of how we actually do high content imaging and high content screening, which are very important technologies for compound or molecular or even antibody mode of actions. Actually, I just moved to Copenhagen about a month ago to Novo Nordisk. Also, I got the permanent position both in the same like in AstraZeneca, but in Novo Nordisk, my focus is mainly in the cell therapy. So I am leading a project for kidney organoids, which is actually a collaboration with Leiden University Medical Center and also Melbourne with Murdoch Children Research Institute Hospital, where we actually try to manufacture a clinical grade kidney organoids that hopefully in the next 7 to 10 years, we can go to the clinic. So interestingly, in Novo Nordisk, we have very flat organizations, considering it's in Scandinavian land. I work quite a lot with the vice president, so I really got a lot of strong impact from the guidance of the expert of the cell therapy and the stem cell biology. So this is actually a slide that I would like to give as advice for young Indonesian scientists. we can also discuss more later. My first point, for those who want to go through industrial career, I think you have to reflect yourself first. What do you really want to do in the future? Are you interested to be scientist or something less scientific? Talk to people and get feedbacks and build a relationship with a mentor. I have even a mentor whom I can always ask if I need suggestions or things that I'm not very sure or I'm inexperienced about. And I have to say that industry and academic careers are very different. I have to say that it's always being pragmatic versus being idealistic. I know the differences really well. So in industry, we really have to be efficient. We are very kind of focused in doing what we want. And we do a lot of teamwork rather than being individualistic, like what I feel, at least from my experience doing postdoc in the academic labs at ETH Zurich. And of course, publishing papers is not in the industry. Like we could publish paper. For example, Novo Nordisk encourage us to publish paper, but that's not part of our performance review because the focus is not in academic kind of context anymore. And it's good to have always an extended network. So you never know what the future will bring, and always open to idea. Be positive in terms of attitude, and of course, I think it's always good to keep learning and expand the network, expand the skills. I had quite like for the past 10 years, I kind of expanded my skills from being a 3D cell culture specialist into imaging techniques, or even now I go more back to the developmental biology to understand the differentiation of embryonic stem cells. And plus, I now work with a lot of CMC people, how to understand the GMP requirements in terms of regulations in Europe, how actually we go into the clinic and things like that. I think it's good to have always a very broad knowledge, so you are actually more flexible in the future. And I have to say that you have to also struggle, come out of your comfort zone with sufficient pressure. I think it helps you growing. In Denmark, we call it hygge. So it's like something that is just enough so that you are comfortable, but you are good in a way. And I think my last point is, especially those who want to work outside of Indonesia, for example, in Europe, it's always good to embrace the culture, learn the language to understand the culture itself, and adapt the local habits the positive way, for example, and eventually feel home. So that's all my short presentation. I'm happy to take questions in the later sessions.
Okay, thank you very much for the wonderful presentation, Dr. Pramasta. So actually, we also have the last speaker, Dr. Ines, but I think she has some difficulty maybe to join this Zoom, but the show must go on. So now, we would like to enter the interactive discussion. So we have the panelists here, but please, we can, not only the panelists that can share the ideas, the question, but also the participants here, please, if you want to ask something, how to get the some work in industry or get the PhD or something, so please ask the speaker and also the panelists. So before that, I would like to invite several panelists here. So first of all, I would like to invite Dr. Yudil Opini. Good night, maybe in Japan time. So nice to meet you, Dr. Yudil Opini. He is working now as an assistant professor in Center for Infectious Disease at Kobe University, Japan. So very fantastic work there. So he is graduated from University of Indonesia, got the PhD and the research fellow in Kobe University, Japan. And after that, he moved to the USA in the MIT and Harvard Medical School as a research fellow, and then moved back to the Osaka University, and then currently he is working as the assistant professor in the Kobe University. And then the second panelist from the IMARI, Indonesia Medical Education Research Institute. So I would like to introduce Dr. Tami Darmawan. he is a head of research convergence in IMERI. So he graduated from University of Indonesia as the medical doctor and also the cardiac, thoracic, and vascular surgeon, and got a PhD in Gunma, Japan. And yeah, as I mentioned before, he is currently working as a head of research convergence and also the coordinator of alumni relation and career development center in University of Indonesia. Welcome, Dr. Tommy. And then I would like to introduce Dr. Mikael Dito Manurung. Welcome, nice to meet you. So he is working in the Department of Parasitology, Leiden University Medical Center. Currently, he is working in the Leiden University as a PhD and also the postdoctoral. Thank you very much for joining this session. And last but not least, I would like also to invite Dr. Marta Rosana. So he is coming from the Metabolic Cardiovascular Aging Cluster in IMERI, our cluster actually. He graduated from the University of Indonesia in both of the MD and also the internist specialist. And he is also the staff of endocrinology in internal medicine in University of Indonesia. And currently, he is the doctoral student in Leiden University Medical Center. So welcome, both of you all. So if you want to share your idea, ask some question, and also the participant here, so please, the floor is yours. Thank you very much. So anyone here? So maybe I would like to invite Dr. Yudil first. Thank you very much, Dr. Yudil.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Jeffy, for the opportunity for me to be a panelist here and to listen to our great speakers, our three speakers that are very have a vast experience in research in both academia and industry. So I just want to add some more. So I believe I will not show any presentation here, so I will just give some comments. And maybe the first is in the context of working in the US. Probably we have heard from Dr. Catherine about the research work environment in the US. Although us as Indonesian, I think we have to look specifically in the context of how there are several things that we have to figure out beforehand before we try to look for a lab in the US. Firstly, of course, we have to follow our interests. We have to follow the topic that we are interested in. I think Dr. Bramasta also emphasized on this part. And it's better to find our own niche in research as well. So the things that we are good at, in which our colleagues maybe don't have the knowledge or the skill sets. So it's better to have your own niche and just let that niche evolve as time goes on, as you obtain more experience in the lab in the US. And even if there are lots of opportunities maybe in better funded labs in the US comparatively to Indonesia, we have to understand that there are also some things that we have to be careful of, or maybe some threats that we may not aware of before we actually experience in the lab there. First, of course, the adaptation and different culture and different social values that maybe we have to appreciate. First, I think it also depends on the cities. If we go to the US, and I believe US and Europe also have a completely different work environment as well. Dr. Bramasta also mentioned some of that. And we also, as a researcher, we have to depend on funding. And maybe as a postdoc, we are trying to be independent. We are trying to apply for our own grants. But from my experience in the US, I think there are several prerequisites that you have to, for example, you have to be a US citizen, or you have to have a green card in order to apply for some NIH grants, or maybe other possible grants in there. So you have to understand about those possible obstacles, and as well as with the lab culture as well. I think I also did a postdoc in Japan, and the lab culture is very different between Asian and the US as well. And I think that is what I can think of right now. Sorry, it's a bit late here in Japan, so maybe my I forgetting some things that I might need to share later on. But please, maybe in the Q&A session we can discuss more about this. And secondly, I think we have to talk about the recent evolutions or recent changes in the academia, as well as in the publishing world. Probably Dr. Catherine, I also would like to hear your opinion about this, about the maybe the recent discourse in the academia in the US as well. I think there are how to say, maybe there are several, especially as a postdoc, as a status as postdoc, there may be some discussion about the salary or maybe underpayment of postdocs, because in the US usually it depends on the duration since you got your PhD, and it is increasing over time, but the disparity between the academia and in the industry is very fast. So I think especially I think the post-COVID postdoc world in the US, I think there are quite some, how to say, I think I saw it in my own lab as well. There are some exits from the academia towards the industry, and I believe some PIs as well have difficulties to look for postdocs, and that's why I think they are more looking from international postdocs as well, from maybe from Asia or maybe from non-high income country, which with maybe $50,000 per year is already such a high salary to them compared to their salary in their home country as a researcher. That is, I think we have to be careful of some exploitative practices. I was grateful, I was lucky to have not experienced that in my own lab, but I have heard stories, or maybe look at in social medias about there are things that we have to be careful in the lab culture. But again, we have to aware about this one, and also the grand competitiveness as well. It is getting increasing. I think there are PhD students right now that have already first author paper in Nature Cell Science. So I think the competition is getting very fierce right now, even to get into the PhD program, not only postdocs or even the faculty positions. And again, if you are interested in not becoming a faculty member, I think transition into the industry is also a very viable option, very interesting option, which unfortunately I have no experience, and I would like to learn more about that as well from maybe Dr. Bramasta. And that is in academia. And the second changes that I think we have to look at is the recent situations in the publishing world, especially after COVID. I think there's a tendency for, not the tendency, I think there's a trend of over-publishing. I think we can see, just for example, in COVID papers, if we try to look for certain topics in COVID, it's hard to look at the actual papers that we are interested in, because there's so many papers that are being published in COVID, just COVID. And I think the trend of open access journals, especially from several publishers, I think it is opening some opportunities for researchers in non-high income countries, because it's maybe more accessible to publish and not only in Nature Cell Science, which costs so much just to publish one paper. But again, I think it depends on the environment that the lab environment we're in. There's a very good Nature paper published last month. It's about how papers and patents are getting less disruptive over time. Probably I've seen about this paper. It discussed about how research are getting more in line with the mainstream already established ideas and getting less disruptive. So they made a disruptive index in how discoveries are more groundbreaking or changing the trend in some certain field of study. And I think it depends on the environment. If we have a supportive environment, if we have a stable salary, if we have a good funding, if we have that leeway, that freedom to become creative and to do some creative thinking and to do lots of trials and errors to be able to be disruptive, I think those privileges are mainly possessed by labs maybe in the US or in the Europe, even not in Japan even, because the disparities actually is quite big. So if you're trying to get into postdoc or maybe get into PhD, please try to learn more about the lab that you're going into, not only about the science, but also the structure, about the culture as well. You learn from the PIs about the grants that they have right now, but you also contact the lower echelons, the postdoc, the PhD students, to learn about the culture. And maybe you can follow their Twitter and you can get the sense of how they communicate and how their culture is. That. So yeah, sorry for taking me too much time, and that's from me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Yudil. So several statement has been discussed here. So I believe that all of the speaker here would like to give some comment, but maybe I would like to invite another panelist. So as you can see that Dr. Tito Manuro has give some chat in the Zoom, and maybe he would like to give some additional comment. Please, Dr. Tito.
Oh yeah, sure. I was just sharing the link to the paper mentioned by Dr. Yudil earlier. So, so I think I saw some mention about the difficulty of being researcher, in which, especially in Indonesia, there is a lack of funding. Well, fortunately, I think now, so currently I'm working in the Department of Human Genetics, and in the field of genomics, there are an increasing amount of effort related to diversity, equity, and inclusion, because so far the amount of genomics data that we have is really overrepresented for Caucasians, which is rightly so, because, well, the Western countries usually have the most funding, and therefore they are able to have such an enormous amount of data. And as a result, Indonesia, even though we have hundreds of millions of people, in perspective, we don't know that much about the genomic informations of the Indonesians. And there are efforts, for example, initiated by the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, that are opening grants. I think 2 years ago, they opened a grant for the Ancestry network, in which they're really trying to promote researchers from all over the world to apply and to have a better understanding of the genomic landscape in their country of origins. For example, I'm acquainted with researchers from Mexico and Brazil. They got millions of dollars in grants, and I think they are able to spend 80% of the funding that was granted to for capacity building, and that is a very I feel that as like a hopeful situation as for researchers coming from lower middle income countries, in which there is maybe a lack of funding. I mean, lack of funding is, I don't think, something that can be fixed within 5 to 10 years in the future, but there are sources that may mitigate this. And especially with this increasing diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative, it is becoming very, very important. And also, well, it becomes, so Indonesian researchers have a plus side if we are applying for grants, because we really want to study this underrepresented population even though we have hundreds of millions of Indonesians in the world, and regarding the funding, yes, I think nowadays the cost of publishing a paper becomes even more expensive. So I'm working with a technique called mass cytometry. So in 6 years ago, one data set can get you a paper in a high impact journals, but however, now it becomes more and more expensive. Now you have to do single cell studies, for example, to have high impact papers. And that is the cost to do that experiment is very prohibiting. However, there are ways in which we can take leverage of that. So we don't have to do everything on our own. We don't have to do the experiments on our own. We can, for example, provide the expertise to do the data analysis, because, well, as long as you have a good enough computer to do your analysis work, then you can contribute from wherever you are. And so there are many opportunities. So if you're lacking in funding, yes, there are this grant funders that have this spatial initiative, or if there isn't, then you can do some research that may be less dependent on the lab environment or the funding or access to reagents or tools. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Tito Marlon. So it's time to maybe the speaker for give some comment, and after that I would like to give the comment for the panelists, Dr. Tommy or Dr. Marta. So maybe we can start from Dr. Catherine. So please, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, I think that both panelists have brought up some really important points. In particular, publishing and grants. I mean, this is something we all struggle with. I hate to say it, but we struggle in the U.S. too. Grant funding is certainly better in the U.S. than many countries, but the competitiveness is steep. What was brought up is correct, that there are some citizenship requirements, especially for fellowships. So this makes it really challenging as a non-US citizen in the postdoc level. It wouldn't be the same if you were at the PI level, but it's a confusion that I will never understand, but something about how they allocate funds to a person versus an institution. So as a fellowship, you get allocated the funds to yourself, and that's why you need to be a citizen. So I think these are real issues that we're facing worldwide. And publishing, I hear you, right? You got to have a single cell RNA-seq in your data set now, just to kind of get your foot in the door. And what do we do with that? How do we go about that? I think there's some good ideas about collaboration, using publicly available data, that are out there. I think really being able to mine what other people have done. But it's something that I struggle with on a daily basis. Do we put all of our resources into something big that we may not hit a home run? Do we try to do smaller little papers? But if you think about your career path, right, I have to think about promotion of my people, I have to think about promotion of myself, and they want, maybe you don't need a whole bunch of Nature papers, but they want you to be publishing an impact over 10. So these are things that I think we all are struggling with. I don't have any great ideas about how to make it better. I think the kind of cool thing about being a PI is that I get to make the decisions about how I want to move our projects forward. So if you're out there and you're thinking about industry versus academia, I think I love this idealism versus pragmatism. That was like a perfect way of stating it. So if you're a pragmatic, maybe academia is going to be hard. And then if you're at the level of looking for a training position, again, you want to really make sure that your values line up with the values of your PIs. If your PI is only wanting to publish a Nature paper, what happens if you don't publish? That doesn't help your career. So lots of important things I think that all the panelists brought up. I have little to no solutions for them, besides I'm in control of my own destiny and the destiny of my lab. So at least I get to make that community the best I can.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe another quick comment from Dr. Bramasta, and after that, I would like to invite Dr. Nurhafian. Please, Dr. Bramasta.
Well, I think it's going to be very difficult for me to address because like we don't work based on the grants. I mean, for a project that I'm running, the grant has been kind of approved from the top level management. And then let's say I have a project now for delivering organoids to the clinic. I have 7 years grant, but that's all. I mean, we don't have to keep writing and everything is there in the clouds. And what I have to do is to drive the project together with the GMP people in the US, and also with the clinicians, and how we actually work also with the in vivo scientists to work together, because it's very different style, I have to say. Maybe not all of you are aware about how we work in the pharmaceutical industry. We cannot work as one man kind of hands. We work as a team. So I am very dependent with other people, and they are also dependent on me. That's why we work together. We have a timeline. Normally it's very strict. Based on what spending we actually have already used, and then we just report in the year basis, and that's all. And we actually have also this performance review every year to know what are our goals already achieved or not for a specific year, and that basically determines my bonus for that particular previous years. And that's all. I mean, it's very different work environment. And I mean, if it's related to how you know the PI or not, we don't call it PI in pharmaceutical industry, but we call it like department directors. It's very different, because the director doesn't really do science anymore. They are more like managing us scientists or principal scientists to work together. We have like lab technicians or master students or postdoc or even PhD student. I think the way they came to our lab was from maybe like an intern in position. Normally we have an intern for a year, and so they are adapted to the system, for example, how we work as a company or as a scientist in the company, so they know the culture. And maybe if they want to be part of, let's say, permanent employees, then they know exactly whether they like it or not. So I guess that's the kind of ideal way of young people, at least in my department, before they became permanent employees.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bramasta. Dr. Nurhafian.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Jeffy. Maybe there are some different culture in Indonesia and also in US and in Europe, but in Indonesian perspective, actually, some grant also improve. So the government itself now improve the grant for the researcher or maybe for the lecturer. However, we should know what kind of grant it is. Yeah, so some grant is for commercialization, like maybe matching fund or Kedereka, so to match between the industry with the lecturer or researcher to make some commercialization of the product. Although it can be to make some startup. Yeah, however, the big gap in research between in Indonesia itself is infrastructure. Yeah, I think infrastructure in some universities is still the problem. So we don't have any kind of the method or maybe the devices to see something. Yeah, we haven't nothing but a single cell analysis or mass spectrometry because this will be produce so much a burden also for us. Yeah, and yeah, there is an interesting point that Catherine and also Bramasta say that we lack also for mentoring. Yeah, actually, if we can improve some collaboration for the mentoring of the young scientists, it will be very, very helpful for the young scientists for the Indonesia. Just like some to make a manuscript, or maybe to get a grant from international, it will be very, very good, I think. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Jeffy.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I believe that it will become a long discussion, and it will be not enough to be discussed in just 1 hour for that. So anyway, talking about the collaboration and mentoring. So we have Dr. Tommy here as the head of convergence research, and he's also like a kind of international collaboration coordinator in our university. So yeah, we would like to hear his comment about maybe some collaboration, some convergent research. And after that, I would like to hear some comment also from Dr. Marta. So please, Dr. Tommy.
Thank you, Dr. Agian, for inviting me and all the committee of CMARS who invite me to join this prestigious meeting. Thank you. And thank you for all the speakers who have joined this meeting. So I think, to be honest, I think there is an excitement if you want to do research in Indonesia and developing countries. I think it is better than in developed countries in US, Europe, or in Japan, I think, because there will be a room for improvement, innovation, and collaboration. Yeah, we have a lot of degenerative disease, and we also have the non-communicable disease, communicable disease, and a lot of room for innovation and also collaboration. So I strongly suggest for all the speakers of all of the diaspora of Indonesian citizens abroad to come back to Indonesia. So my key point is collaboration. Thank you, Dr. Agian, for give some point on that. So I myself is the head of convergence research in IMERI, the Indonesian Medical Research Institute, the first one and the leading one in Indonesia. And I think, to be honest, trying to make people having a collaborative research is a little bit hard. So I think, so to keep it simple, I just want to ask Dr. Agian, to all of the speakers, what is your suggestion on, what is your concrete suggestion to make people, especially a researcher, to have collaborative research between interdisciplinary study? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So yeah, as you mentioned before, Dr. Tommy, so we also have Dr. Marta that her lab is currently has some collaboration between Indonesia and also Netherlands in Leiden University. Maybe Dr. Marta can share her experience about collaboration. Thank you. Please.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Dr. Agian, for the opportunity. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, please.
Yes, okay. Yeah, first of all, thank you for CMARS 2023 for inviting me to be the part of this prestigious symposium. And actually for these sessions, I was just accidentally to be here because it's supposedly Dr. Farid Kurniawan, but unfortunately he can't be here. So I am his replacement. And among of all the distinguished speaker and panelists here, maybe I'm the least experienced and I'm the least experience in science because I'm still in very early stage of my PhD here. And as like Dr. Agian mentioned before, my PhD is like a collaboration between LUMC and FMUE and FKUE. So yeah, it will be my PhD program supposedly will be like me being back and forth to Netherlands and Indonesia. So it's like a hybrid, I don't know, like a sandwich situation, something like that. And I'm very aware that maybe from all our speakers that they're morely like specialized in industrialists, or maybe like Catherine is like simply purely want to be scientist from your beginning stage of life. And here is because my main background is like a clinician physicians. I think it's already like a very different situations entirely. I don't know, maybe Dr. Arfian but because you're in preclinical, right? Anatomy doctor, but Dr. told me, I think because you're a surgeon, I think you could understand that to implement or to fulfill the three dharma that Dr. Arfian mentioned before. So to teach, education, to be a scientist, to do research and community service. And for us, doctor, it means that we have to be treat our patients, right? I think that is the challenges that medical doctor or specialists have when entering academia career and to be a PhD or doctorate students. I think that's one of the points of view that I would like to discuss or mention, and maybe from our participants, our attendees here, that I think I saw some of them are medical doctors that might want to go to the academia career or to go to the PhD. I think it is something worth to consider because I don't know, maybe we the speaker on the panel sees that the privilege or fortunate even that we could do our PhD abroad. But when if I observe, and maybe Dr. Tommy would like to elaborate or add more, if we, the physician, clinician, the academia career in medical field, when we do doctorate back in Indonesia, we couldn't focus on our doing only our research. So in our daily life, we still have to lecture. Yeah, of course, I think in many places that PhD candidate also to teach undergraduate, but maybe in Indonesia, if you're like a staff in FMUI, Cipto Mangunkusumo, you will have a lot of tasks to do the lecture and then to do the patient's treatment, the patient's care. So it would be like one of the challenges. So I think it could be interesting if maybe one or few of our participants attendees that experience doctorate thing in Indonesia would also share their experience. I think from me, Dr. Again is that's all.
Okay,
I
thank
think
you very much.
I would like to invite participants actually to share their opinions too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, great idea. So because we will finish maybe 2 minutes from now, so I would like to invite some participants here. If you have some ideas, share your comments, something. Okay, while waiting the participants, so maybe I would like to invite again the speakers here for maybe last minute comment, maybe some how to improve the to gain the collaboration. So like in US or Europe is kind of much easier, I think, to get some collaboration. So maybe Dr. Teguh, so please, Dr. Teguh.
Thank you for the time I have. I have to ask, now I'm a master student in University Pajajaran, Bandung, Indonesia. I interested in anti-aging and aesthetic medicine, anti-aging, the field of anti-aging. Now I want to up my career to become doctoral or PhD. I want to ask about the line path I must to follow, which maybe for LPDP or some scholarship to boost my career.
Okay, thank you very much. So I got the point. So Dr. Teguh would like to get some insight about his career pathway to get some academic or scientific area. So maybe from Dr. Catherine.
Yes.
Yeah, please. Maybe just short comment.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that that's great. That's your goal. I mean, the biggest thing is once you set a goal, then talk to your mentors, see what you need to do, right? So if you want a specific scholarship, make a plan and go for it. If you want, to work at in a specific lab or a specific area, don't ever hesitate, cold email people, reach out to them. I mean, I think this is especially, we're talking about collaborations too. This is one thing that I think a lot of people are nervous about. Don't be, just email. If someone doesn't email you back, that's their problem, not yours, right? Most of the time people will. I find most people in the world are pretty nice. So that would be my advice, is just, think about what you want and go for it. Don't hesitate. Just whatever you need to do to get there.
Yeah, thank you. So actually, I did that. I just emailed professor and got a PhD. Okay, so Dr. Nur Arfian, maybe some short comment, and after that, Dr. Pramasta.
Yeah, thank you very much. So for the collaboration itself, usually I think can be difficult. Because we are not we do not stand in the same level actually. So yeah, something that we should do is we have to improve our infrastructures. Laboratory is very important for the doing research, and now we can make it using education platform to make some or maybe some open online course, or with our research we can put it in those platform, and we can join it for the education itself. And yeah, we have so many problem in Indonesia. Yeah, so you can find from the infectious disease, genomic and others, and it will be very interesting to see. But we have to also we have to take a part also for the elucidate the everything that we have. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So maybe Dr. Pramasta. So he has an excellent experience to study in overseas. Maybe Dr. Pramasta, please.
Maybe you can, of course, like what Catherine said, email the professor with the lab that you are interested in to work on, if they have fundings or if they have scholarship available, or if you want to be granted with the LPDP. But of course, every scholarship has a different terms and conditions. It depends on what you want. If it's LPDP, I think most of my friends who did PhD in Switzerland, for example, they came back to Indonesia, and yeah, of course, different scholarship will have different implications. I think most of the professor will reply if they have an opening, or if they don't even. I think they normally are open. I can also suggest, I did before I decided my PhD lab, I did actually lab rotations for about 3 months. So I know exactly what the lab is working and how are the people, are they open, are they collaborative? And I think it's a good point to get to know the lab before you decide that you would like to spend for the next 4 to 5 years in the same lab.
Thank you very much. Yeah, maybe we still have, maybe I would like to add two more extra time, 2 minutes. Maybe any last comment, Dr. Yudil or Dr. Mikhail?
Yeah, sure. So, well, if you want to do a PhD abroad, be sure to also ask the PhD students or the postdocs about the environment of the lab. So don't be too enthralled by the number of CNS papers put out by the principal investigators. Really ask how the people, the PhD students, the master students in the lab, how do they feel working in the lab? Because, well, I do believe if they are, if they think that the atmosphere is good, then regardless of the topic, you would get a lot out of the PhD. Well, there are many perspectives in why people would do a PhD. There are people who wants to really specialize and be an expert. But it is doing a PhD is also a great time to explore your interests. So you don't have to know exactly what you want to do. Maybe you have an inkling, and then you can explore. And doing a PhD is really a great time to really know what you want to do, and if you want to be a PI, to know what you want to specialize in eventually. And
Thank you. Yeah,
don't underestimate the power of Twitter. it's a very, very great place to put yourself out there. Just don't be embarrassed, don't be reserved. People will appreciate you if you put a good content out there.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Be brave to text the email, get the Twitter, and I forgot the last word. So, Dr. Yudil, maybe just quick comment.
Yes, thank you. So I'm just trying to be more realistic here. If you're trying to pursue a PhD, please remember the maybe the sacrifices we have to say, the sacrifice that we have to make in order to do PhDs. First of all is the delayed professional entry. PhD may took maybe 4 or even 5 more years. So, and we have to move to a new location. We have to move far away to a new country. We have to adapt to the new place, and we have to be separated from maybe our family, or maybe if you already have a spouse or children, and we have to think how to accommodate them. And we have to look at the standard of living, the cost of living. You have to look at your scholarships. How much is the stipend? Do you have the opportunity to do a part-time work, and so on? And most importantly, doing PhD is, I think it's there is some underestimation about the toll to your mental health. So please remember to do self-care, to remember to maybe you're being more isolated compared to when you live in Indonesia. So you have to reach out to people, to friends that you're that important to you, and try to relieve stress and manage your own time for yourself as well. And I think this is very, very important.
Yeah.
Jeffy, sorry,
yes,
one sentence for Teguh. So if you can go abroad, please go abroad. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, last comment maybe, Dr. Martha.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Agian. So maybe it's not really, it's just short comment for me. I agree totally with Dr. Yudil, like just said, that it's not easy to go do PhD abroad, because I've just been here like a month and I'm still in adaptation. So yeah, I feel the struggle itself. And of course, if you already are really into research, science, statistic, and something like that, maybe you will have the basic, minimum basic. But if you are really like me, myself, like being purely like a physician, clinician, just only got myself into the research stuff, maybe it will require more works, more efforts to catch up. So before you decide whether you want to do PhD or not, just prepare yourself and do the due diligence well. So you're not like jumping off the cliff that you don't know how or where it ends, something like that. And yeah, I agree with Dr. Arfian. If you have the opportunity to go abroad, just take it, because like what I don't know, maybe Catherine or Brahmasta said, that's every opportunity is a great opportunity, just grab it. I think it's like that. And for the grant, the scholarship, you could just apply for LPDP, or you could just search specific scholarship from the university you apply. Like me, I got the scholarship from LUMC Global, so it is really possible, and many countries in US, in Europe, that offer specific scholarship, maybe like from Indonesian or from any specific field. I think that's all from me. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you very much. So I think it's enough. Dr. Tommy, maybe just short sentence, no?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Agian. I think in the future, we need some collaboration more than just working alone. Yeah. So I think that's the key point if you want to make a good future in research. That's all.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much for all the speakers and the panelists and also the participants. I believe that 1 hour will not be enough for that. But anyway, thank you very much, Dr. Catherine. Nice to meet you. And also thank you very much, Dr. Pramasta. Thank you very much, Dr. Nur Arfian, and also the panelists, Dr. Yudil Opini, Dr. Michael Manurung, Dr. Tommy Darmawan, and also Dr. Marta Rosana. Thank you very much. Have a good day and have a nice weekend. So I would like to give the ceremony to the Natasha as the MC. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum
Thank you.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to all of the speakers involved in this session, as well as the panelists and our moderator, Dr. Agian Jeffilano, for this amazing session to end our night. Now, before we officially close today's event, I would like to invite everyone in the participants, also the speakers, panelists, and committee in this meeting to turn on your cameras for a photo session. We'll wait for around 1 minute for everyone to turn on your cameras. Vera, I will take the picture. I'll count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Once more. 1, 2, 3. Very well. Thank you very much for joining our photo session. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now arrived at the end of today's event. We hope every single person and the participants had an amazing experience today, and most importantly, learned plenty from the experiences that have been shared by our panelists and also our speakers tonight. Don't forget that CMARS 2023 still has 2 days, which will be just exciting as today. Be sure to join again tomorrow for day 3. And we would also like to say thank you to our sponsors, Novartis, Novo, Prodia, AstraZeneca, and Vidya Genomic. Thank you to all sponsors and media partners that have been able to make CMARS 2023 possible. Lastly, we'd like to express our gratitude to all the participants while also apologizing for any inconveniences during this event. Once again, thank you very much for joining CMARS 2023. See you tomorrow, and you may now leave the Zoom meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.